The power of example, for example. When a child cannot make a decision, an important decision, but he brings about the image of his mother as a mentor and says, if my mother was here, what would she do? And instantly an answer would come. Or a father or a child sits on the father's desk, and the father's left his body and he sits on the desk to take on the company. Very often he is at the crisis moment to be able to take a big decision for such a successful company. All he needs to do is he doesn't need any of these other stuff, but he can quickly think of, if my father was here, I can do it. How important is this power of example and in helping us a bit more realistically to take a decision?
You're talking about a situation in which we used to have role models, in which mothers were truly role models, in which fathers truly were examples of high character and high discipline and high ideals. And it seems to be a world in which we don't have role models anymore. And I think that that's generally the case. And that's the way the world is at the present moment. But yes, if there is someone I respect, I think that's an important ingredient. If there's someone I respect because they've been able to uphold high ideals in their lives, and I keep that as a role model in front of me, I'll know the decision I need to make and I'll be taking the right path. But the world lacks role models now, and so this is why I think we have to trust our own inner conscience and be able to come to that state in which we've cleared the mind of the clutter, we've been able to understand clearly the difference between the spiritual ideals which I need to hold in my life, my own inner values, and let those be a guide for me.
So this is very important. Your own integrity can become the source or the space where you take that decision. For example, I value peace. For example, I value love. I hold on to this value. I use them to take or become a stepping stone to take decisions.
If at the end of the day, I've been true to my own values and my decision has been based on, is this coherent with my own innate values, I'll be able to sleep comfortably at night. And so often why it is we've lost our peace and we've lost our self-respect is because our decisions haven't been made on the strength of our innate values, but we've decided things either because of the influence of others, that's the third factor that influences us, what other people say, how society sees us, or what others think of us. And so if my decisions have been based on that, then I'm at odds with myself and I'm not very comfortable. And I've damaged my own self-respect. And definitely I won't sleep comfortably at night.
So it's very important to stay clear, be true to yourself, and yet stay clear of the influence of others. That would lead you to become a quick decision maker.
Going inside, coming to my true identity, clearing my mind, and connecting with my core values, separating myself from external influences and dependencies and attachments and desires. And yes, in that clear, clean light, my decisions are going to stand the test of time. And 30 years from now, I'll say, yes, that was the right decision that I made.
If I take a decision, or I have to take a decision, but I am afraid of making a mistake, this fear of making a mistake enables me not to take a decision, but makes me feel safe to sit on the fence in between. I don't have to decide. I'm not pushed to make a decision. Is this okay? Or at one point, right or wrong, just take a decision? Is it worth the risk?
They say that it's better to make a mistake and learn from it rather than not do anything at all. That state of apathy is probably what's going to take the world further downhill than it is already. at least if I decide to do something, I learn from it. And so let me have the confidence in myself to say, okay, even if it's the wrong decision, if I've done something, I'll have the opportunity to see what it is I've done and learn from that and go further. But if I'm apathetic, if I'm passive, if I'm just sitting on the fence and not doing anything, I'm not going to go nowhere. I'm going to get stuck. It's stagnation.
If I can't get in touch with my inner core, if I have no more role model for me from whom I can draw, can I depend on God to help me decide?
It's connected very much with going inside, because I can't get in touch with God unless I've made that journey inwards first. What's happened so often is that we've said, yes, we're going to leave it to God, but we haven't actually been able to connect with God and understand what it is that God wants from us. And so we sit there waiting for God to do something,
answer.
and then nothing happens. And then we turn around and blame God and say, but why didn't you do
I
anything?
depended on you.
That's
You're
right.
my only source.
But in fact, what God is saying, let there be self-realization first, let there be God-realization, and then you'll know exactly what it is you need to do, because then you'll understand what is right, what is wrong, which is the direction to be going in.
Sister Jayanti, some people say what is right for you is not necessarily right for me. So what is the criteria for right and wrong? How clear definition should there be between right and wrong?
In today's world, this is how people feel, that each one has their own perspective and each one is right. But for me, there are 3 factors that tell me if things are right or things are not right. One is, if I've done something that's brought me closer to my own inner core values of love, of peace and truth, it's right. And if there's something I've done or said or even thought that's taken me away from this, then it's not right. The second is, and this is for me, because there are some who won't agree with this, but for me a criteria is, does this bring me closer to God or does it take me further away from God? And we know from our lives that sometimes you have a very good feeling inside. There are good things that have happened and you feel very close to God. And at other times your conscience is biting and you know you've gone far away from that truth and from God. The third criteria is, whatever it is I'm doing, is it bringing happiness to me and happiness to others? And if it is, then it must be right. So if I can just have this little checklist for myself.
So the first checklist is get in touch with your core values. Are you compromising? Are you selling your soul to do this? If you're not, and you are, you feel true to yourself, you will take the right decision. Second, whatever decision that you take, you said, if it brings you closer to God or far from God. So if I take a decision and I say, okay, I do not want to tell the truth, but in that process I'm moving away from God, I should not take that decision. I should find a way to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the third criteria is that if I take a decision and it gives me happiness and it gives others happiness, that is a go-ahead decision. Go and do it. Is that it?
That's it.
This is the 3 simple checklist.
That's right. And it's very quick. You don't need to open up a textbook to check, because when you're in that situation, you have to decide very quickly. And so I use these 3 factors to be my guiding light.
Thank you very much, Sister Jayanti. Could you take us into this experience where we can sharpen our power of discernment?
As I sit quietly, I reflect on the things that I've just heard, and I see, what is it that is clouding my mind? And I realize that there are many thoughts of the things of the world outside. There are many desires, many attachments. my mind is pulled by all of these things, and my vision becomes cloudy because of this. I go deep into myself so that the thoughts quieten down and I'm able to connect with my inner core values, with the truth and the peace that is within me. Now, in this inner state of awareness, the inner eye of wisdom opens, and I look out into the world and I see that there are definitely factors that are connected. There is cause and there is effect. When there are desires and attachments, there is no clarity, and the things I have done based on these have led to much pain and sorrow. With my inner eye, I detach myself from all these externals. I see who I truly am, and in this clarity of knowing the self, I connect with the divine, and from the Supreme flows the power and the strength to know the difference between right and wrong. And from the Supreme comes the power to do what is right and not be led astray by artificial things. I hold the awareness of the inner eye and allow it to stay open, so that even as I come back into the consciousness of the world around me, I look at the world with my inner eye of wisdom to be able to see the truth. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. The power to discern, probably one of the most important powers that we need to sharpen in today's life. While we are surrounded by artificiality, materialistic way of living, we need to depend more and more on our third eye. How do I decide? Be true to yourself. Connect to the higher source, the supreme source. But don't forget to be comfortable with your own values. Get in touch with your core values before you take any decisions. Once again, thank you, Sister Jayanti, for joining us today. For your comments, for your opinions, please do not hesitate to call or email us at the following address.
If you wish to discuss your problem or have a question to ask or want to know your nearest Raj Yoga Meditation Center, call us on 099 99 744 555.